ओम ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। यन्नित्यमानन्दमनन्तमेकं शिवेति नाम्ना श्रुतयो गृह्णन्ति तस्यावतारो नररूपधारी कृपासुदाब्धि भुवि रामकृष्णः। जननीं शारदां देवीं रामकृष्णं जगद्गुरुं पादपद्मे तयोः श्रुत्वा प्रणमामि मुहुर्मुहुः। रामाय रामचन्द्राय रामभद्राय वेधसे रघुनाथाय नाथाय सीतायाः पतये नमः। यस्यात्मभूतस्य गुरोः प्रसादाद् अहं विमुक्तोऽस्मि शरीरबन्धात्। सर्वोपदेष्टुः पुरुषोत्तमस्य तस्याङ्घ्रियुग्मं प्रणतोऽस्मि नित्यम्। There is a basic question in the minds of all philosophers. Is there a creation? Whether this creation exists in reality or not? That is the question. If you ask this question to anyone, even if he is a common man, he will say, yes, there is a world. The world which is available to me, the world which is available to all, is really exists. The world which is available to all is different from the world which an individual comes across when he is in dream. Even a common man says, the world which is called as dream world, it doesn't really exist. It is an appearance. It is an aberration of the mind. But the world which I am perceiving by my sense organs is real. Then the question comes, if the proof for the existence of the world is your sense organs, what is the proof that your sense organs show right thing? What is the proof that your sense organs are valid source of knowledge? If you ask this question to a scientist, he will say, my sense organs are valid because I don't have any other means to disprove its validity. Whatever I see is valid. I don't have any other means to disprove its validity. If you ask the person in Vedic culture, he is more clear than the scientific explanation. He says, Anadhigata abadite arthavate jnana bhotakam pramanam. There is a definition. A source of knowledge is something which reveals something unique, something which cannot be negated, and something useful. Therefore, all my sense organs reveal something unique, which cannot be negated and which is useful. Therefore, my sense organs are real. My sense organs are valid. Therefore, their revelation is valid revelation. What I see is real. Now the question comes, through these sense organs, how many things we can know in the creation? Only 5 things. Through the sense organs, only 5 things we can know. Shabda Sparsha Rupa Rasa Gandhani. We can know sound, we can know the touch, we can know the taste and smell, and finally we can know the forms and colors. Each sense organ works in distinct area. Say for example, if you take the eyes will work only in the area of forms and colors. So they are independent. Eyes are independent. Eyes have its own field and we cannot interchange. In order to see an object, we cannot use the ears just for change sake. Nowadays our children get bored, same thing doing. So the child asks, why can't I see something through my ears? No, it is impossible. So each sense organ works in different field and what they show is valid because other sense organs cannot deny or negate it or dismiss it. More importantly, one sense organ, one pramanam, one source of knowledge is not a threat to another source of knowledge, another sense organ. Correct? So 5 sense organs are there. They don't quarrel with each other. Every sense organ give unique knowledge and that knowledge cannot be negated by another sense organ and that knowledge is useful. So by this sense organ we can know only 5 things in the creation. There are so many things in the creation which doesn't come under the purview, the area of these sense organs. Therefore, we require some more instrument of knowledge. Some more instrument of knowledge. Even for our worldly life, physical life. Suppose somebody says, I love you. The person to whom it is told, he asks, please show your love. What we do? We purchase one rose and show that. The person says, hey, you are showing the rose. Show your love. Show your love. Love cannot be shown. I am angry. Show your anger. We take one stick and try to beat. You are beating. Show your anger. So, anger, emotions, these are all not under the purview of 5 sense organs, even in worldly life. Now, the question comes, can these 5 sense organs reveal all the aspects of creation? The answer will be, invariably, it cannot be. They cannot reveal all these things in the creation. They cannot reveal Swarga, Naraka, whether Swarga is there or not, Naraka is there or not. They cannot reveal Punarjanma, whether the person survives after the physical death, whether there is a creator, whether there are devatas, whether there is a consciousness. All these things cannot be revealed by sense organs. Just because sense organs cannot reveal them, one cannot say they are not there. Correct? Just because I am not able to see virus, can I say it is not there? Can I say? It may not be available for my naked eyes, but when I put one instrument called electronic microscope, what happens? Electronic microscope doesn't create virus, but electronic microscope helps me to see the virus which is already there. Before the invention of electronic microscope, humanity thought that there is no virus. So therefore, as even you introduce one instrument of knowledge in your life, your knowledge becomes more and more. So one cannot say there is no Naraka, one cannot say there is no God. Suppose somebody says there is no God. I will ask, how you know? How you know? If when somebody says there is no Swarga, I can ask, how you know? Did you go there and verify? To verify whether Swarga is there or not, one should do what? First thing, he should successfully die. Then go there. and search somewhere else, is there any Naraka in the, like announcement. Is there any Naraka? Is there any Naraka? Is there any Surga? Is there any Surga? Some answer you may get. No, there is no Surga. Suppose if you get. Then you come back. Then announce. Didn't I tell you? When I was there in human body, I told you all that there is no Swarga. I went there after death and I searched and I have come back here. Now I am telling there is no Swarga. If a person comes back after death, what he will be? Bhuta. Will you hear his words? Can it make you any sense? No. Therefore, you cannot say there is no Swarga, there is no Naraka. Because you don't have access to Surga and Naraka. Your sense organs don't have access to Surga and Naraka, access to Punya and Papa, access to Punarjanma, access to Ishvara, access to consciousness. There comes the role of Veda Pramanam. There comes the role of Veda Pramanam. Veda means a body of knowledge which exists all the time. Any knowledge exists always. Human mind only discovers that. Newton discovered gravitation theory. Okay. Before discovery of gravitation, does the gravitation exist or not? It exists. Only human mind discovers what exists already. Within the purview of sense organs, we cannot know whether Bhagavan is there, Swarga Naraka is there, Punya Papa is there, Punarjanma is there. So, Veda comes to our rescue, comes to our help and says, I am also a source of knowledge. The very definition of Veda is Pratyakshena Anumityava Yastupayo na vidyate yena vidanti vedena tasmad vedasya vetata. That which can never be known by pratyaksha pramanam, by sense organs or by mind, anumitya or by mind, that is known by something called Veda. Therefore, Veda becomes a source of knowledge. How to prove this? How we have proved that sense organs are source of knowledge? Anadhigata abhadida arthavat jnana bhotakam. That which reveals something unique, something unnegatable, something useful is called source of knowledge. Same definition we will apply for Veda also, and Veda qualifies this definition. What Veda shows is not known by any other sense organs. What Veda shows? That there is a creator, and that creator happened to be you yourself. Aitad atmam idagam sarvam tat satyam sa atma tattvamasi shvedaketo. So this is the revelation. What is the revelation? That there is a creation, and that creation is created by a creator, and that creator happened to be your real nature. Is it a new knowledge or old knowledge? Do you know that you are God? Can you know that you are God? Even after teaching several years, human mind doesn't accept that. Am I God? Am I God? You don't know, Swami. What I am, you don't know. So you don't accept. But what it says cannot be negated. You can never say that I am not God. Suppose if you say I am not God, suppose. Immediately I will ask, what you are then? Who are you? You will tell your name. I say, I did not ask your name. Please tell who are you. You tell your father name and tell I am his son. I did not ask your father name. Please tell who are you. Then again you will tell your wife's name, spouse name. Then you will tell I am husband or wife of so and so. I did not ask your husband name or wife name. Please tell who are you. Then you will tell I am father of so and so. I did not ask your children's name. Please tell who are you. Then you will tell I am so and so. I am engineer. I am doctor. I did not ask your education qualification. Please tell who are you. Then finally you will tell what? I am human being. Then also I will tell, I did not ask your species. I did not ask your gender. Please tell who are you. Then what you will tell? I don't know, Swami. If you know, you tell. Don't waste my time. Sunday evening. Mega serials are so many. So you cannot say that who you are. You can never know what Veda or Vedanta reveals to the humanity. That's why Vedanta says, if you accept that you don't know who you are, then I will reveal to you what you are. This revelation is an unique revelation, and it is available only in Veda. Only in Veda. Nowhere. No religion, no science, no book in the creation can tell that you are the creator. Can physics say that? Can chemistry say that? No, no religion, no science can say that. Therefore, it is what Veda reveals is very, very unique, and you don't have any other means to negate it, and it is a most useful knowledge. All our sufferings are just simply carried away, simply washed away by this one simple revelation. Therefore, an intelligent person makes use of this instrument of knowledge. Already we have 5 instruments of knowledge: eyes, ears, nose, tongue and skin. Along with this, our life will be fulfilled if we can make use of another source of knowledge called Veda. Our life will be fulfilled. And Veda says, you lead your life based on your sense organs and mind, and that is full of dangers. That life becomes full of dangers. Every human mind has 6 types of defects. Every human mind has 6 types of defects. One defect is ajnanam, ignorance. We don't know many things. The more you try to know, the more you become super specialist, more you come to know what? More you become knowledgeable, more and more degrees, more and more education you get, what you understand, that there are so many things which I don't know at all. An MBBS doctor can treat the patient. If you go to a ophthalmologist, he will say, I am ophthalmologist, I cannot treat you because you have to go to nephrologist, neurologist, retina specialist. See, certainly ophthalmologist is more educated than MBBS doctor. So MBBS doctor thinks that I can treat the human being very easily. But the more education one person gets, immediately he becomes very cautious. He is very cautious because he comes to know that my understanding of the human body is very small. Suppose a person has a skin disease, he goes to a doctor, the specialist name is dermatologist. There was a Swami in our order. He was dermatologist. So he used to jokingly say, see, my knowledge is only skin deep. My knowledge is only skin deep. I cannot I cannot say anything about the human body just below the half inch below the skin. So the more education you get, what is the idea about yourself? That I am more and more ignorant. I am ignorant more and more. There are so many areas, so many departments of knowledge are unknown to me. Therefore, by birth itself, human mind is ignorant. That's the greatest defect. Then whatever little bit we know, that also we don't know correctly. That is why if you read science papers, research paper comes, every time there is a argument. Those people who have done PhD 10 years before telling something, those PhDs are rejected and new PhDs are given to the rejection of the old PhD. So now for a person who has got PhD 10 years before, he told something. Now another person who is negating that old theory, he also gets PhD. Now you tell who is right. The second wala will be right as long as third wala doesn't come. Correct? So whatever I know, that also very, very doubtful one. I know very little, first thing. Second thing, whatever I know, it is doubtful. Third one is viparyayaha, erroneous perception. First one is ignorance. Second one is samshayaha, doubtful. Third one is viparyayaha, erroneous perception. This erroneous perception, classical example for this erroneous perception is meteorological department. குறைந்த மழையோ மிதமான மழையோ கனத்த மழையோ மழை இல்லாமலோ இருக்கலாம். Tomorrow there may be no rain or ordinary rain or heavy rain. For this they have to calculate thousands of parameters. And after calculation, whenever they say something that there will be rain, what happens? Rain doesn't come. Just because you calculate, rain will not come. So, viparyayaha, erroneous perception. Third one. Fourth one is pramadaha, negligence. In a dim lighted street you are going, suddenly you shout, "Oh snake!" Then torchlight is there with your friend, he puts the torchlight, and when he puts the torchlight, you happen to see that it is an innocent rope. So that moment when you shouted, "Oh snake," what happened? That is called negligence, pramadaha. Then vipralabdhihi. Little bit I know, that also I may hide for my selfishness. For this classical example is corporate hospitals. These doctors work in corporate hospital. They are told, hey, you are paid 1.5 lakh rupees. Somehow or the other, you have to catch hold of the patients. When they come with headache, what you have to write? Even if you know that headache is because of constipation, what you should write in the prescription? Go to CT scan, go to this X-ray, go to this, all things they will write. Why? This is called cheating. Mind can cheat others. Educated mind can cheat others. It is called vipralabdhihi. Then sixth one is apatkaranatvam. It has very, very small area, that it has its own limitation to know things. Our sense organs have limitations. The waves, sound waves, which the bats can hear, we cannot hear. The sound waves which dogs can hear, we cannot hear. The light waves which dogs can see, we cannot see. Because their instruments are more powerful than us. There are certain animals who can smell an object if it is their food. The food is 2 kilometers beneath the surface. That animal can find out that there is a food 2 kilometers beneath the surface. So our instruments are very, very limited power, with limited power. So all these things, defects are there. How can a human being say that I know everything? Therefore, Shastra says, Apaurusheya Vastuni Shastram Eva Pramanam. In knowing certain Apaurusheya Vastuni, in knowing certain unworldly objects, unworldly things, Shastram is the Pramanam. Many are there, unworldly things. Unworldly means what? Beyond world. Swarga, Naraka, Punya, Papa. Life after death, existence of God. These are all what? These are all what? Not within our purview. We can never know. Either you can say, I don't understand. You can say, when Shastra says these are all there, you can say what? I don't understand, you can say. But you cannot say, it is not there. Telling it is not there means it is knowledge, and that knowledge can come only after verification. You don't have any means to verify their existence or not. So Vedic revelations can never be negated, therefore they are valid. Non-acceptance of Veda is a sheer loss to the humanity. Why? Because we have already proved what Veda reveals is unique and it cannot be negated by human mind, and what reveals is very, very useful to us. If a person doesn't use the Veda as a source of his knowledge, then it is a loss for him. Like a person who says, I will not use my eyes. Even though I have been provided by seeing capacity with two beautiful eyes, I will not use them. Who told this? In our culture, one person told. Who is that? Who is that? Gandhari. That is the most foolish thing a person can do to himself and to the family, to the society. That's why if it is not given to you, that is different. When it is given to you, if you refuse to use, then it is a foolish thing. That's what happened in Gandhari's life. When husband was not given that capacity of seeing, wife should have 4 eyes, correct? Wife should have 4 eyes. She should be eyes to her own husband also. But what she did is an idea of false chastity, that the world which is not seen by my husband, I will not see. That created 100 idiots. 100 idiots. It destroyed her life. It destroyed her children's life also. Because in the life of a child, mother's eyes are very, very unique and very, very informative. If you want to know how much education the child gets from mother's eyes, just call a child, 1 year, 2 year child, which is accompanying the mother. Just call a child and try to give 5-star chocolate. Immediately the child will see the mother's face. From there signal should come. If signal comes in a wrong way, the child goes behind the mother. If signal comes in a pleasant way, the child stretches its hands. So there is a teaching through the mother's eyes. So when Gandhari refused to use her eyes, refused to see her own children, refused to teach her own children through eyes and other things, because a lot of things are conveyed. Anger of mother is conveyed, displeasure of mother is conveyed, love of mother is conveyed. Everything is conveyed through the eyes. So what happens? The child is deprived of getting lot of knowledge from the mother. That's why all the 100 children became idiots. They are lived as idiots. In spite of being born in the palace, they spent entire life how? Jealous about someone else. See, in some plate 5 idli is there. In your plate 5 idli is there. Suppose if you don't eat your 5 idli and all the time seeing that 5 idli, 5 idli, 5 idli, 5 idli, so that person will be what? The person will be called as idiot. Why? Children cannot be blamed, because that was the blunder done by Gandhari. Similarly, when a person refuses to make use of the source of knowledge in his life, you try, 10 minutes you try to blind yourself temporarily and try to lead the life. 10 minutes. Just to tie your eyes with black cloth and start walking on the road. When you open the eyes, you will ask some philosophical question. Who am I? Where I am? Who are you? Just 10 minutes deprivation of source of knowledge for 10 minutes in your life. Make your life what? Pathetic. But unfortunately, this entire 99% of humanity doesn't make use of this Vedic Pramanam at all. So life becomes pathetic. If you don't make use of this Vedic Pramanam, then there will be lots of questions in every mind. Why I am born here, and that too in this condition? Why there is lot of differentiations in the world? Somebody is born as the would-be prime minister, and I am trying. I am not getting even the local municipal council. Somebody is born would-be prime minister. Somebody is born with silver spoon. I don't have fingers at all to hold on a spoon. So why this differentiation in creation? And why I am born in this condition? Why I am born as a human being? And that too with this family condition. And that too why my parents are drunkard. In those days, why my father was drunkard can be asked. Nowadays you have to ask why my parents are drunkard. Both sit together and have. Indian culture is going in that direction. Who has created this world? Why this creation? So many people come and ask, especially 23, 25-year-old boys come and ask me. They have asked me so many times, Swami, why this creation? Why this creation? Why Bhagavan has created this creation? Immediately I ask another question. Did you have any love failure? Then only it comes. That question comes when somebody rejects you. So, why this creation? Who has created this creation? Why this much of suffering? I have never worked for my suffering. I never worked for my difficulties. Never desired. Never spent any money or time to get suffering. But suffering comes and knocks at my door. Why? What is the goal of my life? Is it the only just like born, grown, became old and dying? Is this the world? This is the life? What is the purpose of my life? Who is responsible for my condition? Who is responsible for my suffering? What is the way for freedom? All these questions don't have answer if a person doesn't make use of Veda. All other scriptures of all other religions are just copy of the Veda, nothing else. Nothing new in any scripture told, what is not told in the Veda. Other religions also talk about Swarga, Naraka. Okay, they take the idea from Veda only, nowhere. So, all these questions will be unanswered if a person doesn't make use of. Therefore, the idea is, Shastram is Antima Pramanam. If sense organs are Pramanam for knowing 5 things, Shabda Sparsha, Rupa Rasa Gandhani, if sense organs are Pramanam for knowing all these 5 things, Shastram is Pramanam for knowing who you are, why you are here, what is this creation, why in this condition you are asked to live, why these parents, this type of parents for whom you have born, why these sufferings are coming and knocking at your door, what should you do in this life? Is it the life only eating, drinking, sleeping and quarreling? This much only life? Ahara nidra bhaya maitunnam cha samanya vedat pashubhir narana. Animals also eat, they also quarrel, they also marry, they also sleep, they also have fear. Is this only human life? So all these questions can be answered only when a person make use of Vedic Pramanam. If a person says, no, I will not make use of Vedic Pramanam, I don't bother about all those things, then his life will be what? It will be dependent upon other 5 sense organs, correct? It will be dependent upon only sense organs, and the life dependent upon sense organs will be a life of 5 objects. A life depends upon 5 sense organs will be a life of 5 objects. It will be a life of sensuous, anxious, selfish life. It will be a life of animals. It will be guided by whims and fancies of the mind. On the other hand, if a person make use of the scripture also as the source of knowledge in his life. Whenever his mind becomes whims and fanciful, whenever his mind says, cheat someone, cut throat someone, then Veda says, don't do that. Satyam vada, dharmam chara. Don't do that. Because it will come back to you. Because it will come back to you. Whether it is going to come back to me or not, I cannot negate. Correct? I cannot negate. I cannot say it will not come back to me. So if I make use of that, my life will be a life of do's and don'ts. It will be guided by dharma, not by whims and fancies, not by convenience. There are some people who are good when conveniently. Something extra comes means immediately their color will change. So life is guided by either whims and fancies. That's why modern people argue, especially young girls argue, we are free citizens, therefore we can reduce the dress size. Free citizens means what? Free citizenship is not to reduce the dress size, nor it is to do whatever you like. Free citizenship means what? Responsible life. So nobody talks about life of responsibility. Everybody talks about life of whims and fancies. So life will be a life of dharma. It will not be a life of convenience or whims and fancies. And moreover, the mind will be educated and it will have the full conviction that I am responsible for my action. Because the question comes, why there is a suffering? Immediately Veda says, you ordered it. When I ordered? The very fact that it has come to your address means you have ordered. Only thing is you have forgotten that you have ordered. It is like entering a 5-star hotel and you ordered a masala dosa and they made little late, so you got out. But that masala dosa wala, the 5-star wala, what he says? He packed that masala dosa and brings to your door and says, sir, you have ordered, sir. You have ordered. So, if you forget the order, that doesn't mean that you have not worked for it, you have not paid for it. So, all sufferings comes in human life is one's own action, due to one's own actions. As your present life is the result of your past actions, so will be the future life. Therefore, be careful about present action. That is called karma niyati, dharma niyati. So, you will be a knowledgeable person about the existence of yourself after the death of the body. There will be beyond physical existence. Your life will be beyond physical existence. Your life will be free from anxiety. Because you are already convinced, if I do right, I will be getting only right thing. So therefore, the life will be a life of freedom. A life of freedom from anxiety. You will never bother about whether God will poke your eyes, whether God will wait for judgment day. Why should God wait for judgment day? If God also works according to his whims and fancies, can he be called as God? Can a judge can be called as a judge? If a judge says, I like this person, therefore give him Bharat Ratna award. I dislike this person, therefore give him death penalty. Can a judge say? If a judge says, what we will call that judge? That we will call the judge, you are a mad fellow, get out from that seat. Correct? So, Bharat Ratna and death penalties are given by judge, but not based on whims and fancies of the judge, but based on the action done by the receiver. Correct? Same law applies to the entire cosmos. Therefore only Bhagavan Ishvara is revealed by the Shastra as Karma Phala Dhata, but that Karma Phala Dhata doesn't give you judgment just because you accept him, just because you don't accept him. He gives judgment according to the dharma, the actions which is performed by the individual. Thus, an intelligent person make use of this Veda also as an additional source of knowledge. That's what Bhagavan Krishna says in Gita. Arjuna, Kim karma kim akarmeti kavayo petra mohitaha. What is proper action? What is improper action? Even the highly educated people are confused. You can see in India, behind all these improper scams, who are there? Is there any illiterate agriculturist? All so-called educated people, IAS, IPS, doctors, engineers, advocates, auditors. Correct? So, kim karma, kim akarmeti, kavayo petra mohita. Even a most intelligent person who can pass the IAS, IPS test also may not be known what is proper or improper. That is why he takes a wrong side. Therefore, you have to lead your life with proper action, with proper attitude, with proper convictions. How you will get proper convictions and attitude? By proper learning. Who will teach you? Certainly not your sense organs. Certainly not by your mind. Not by your sense organs. By Veda Pramana. Tasma Shastram Pramanam te Karya Karyo Vyavastito Jnatva Shastra Vidhanoktam Karma Kartum Iharhasi. Arjuna, if you want to be a happy person, if you want to be a person free from anxiety and fear, you should know what is right and wrong, and you can know the right and wrong through Veda Pramana, through the words. Veda Pramana means what? Knowledge discovered by the wise people. I may not be competent enough to understand the entire intricacy, but if I have mere Shraddha that the person, if Einstein says E is equal to mc square, then I may not know what is E, what is mc square. But if I have the sheer respect towards that scientist, I will say what? Yes, it may be so. Let me find out. Correct? That's what Shraddha, Shastra Shraddha it is called. When a mother says, a child asks, Mummy, who is my father? Mummy shows someone. If the child says, no, I will not believe your words. Is it belief? Or is it intelligence? Please tell. It is intelligence. Because you don't have, the child doesn't have any option. Whether the child understands or not, it doesn't have any option other than making use of the statement of the mother, because mother can never tell lie. Because that is the individual who takes care of the child. Therefore, the protector can never tell lie to the protected child. Same thing applies to Veda Pramana also. The people with wisdom, when they say something to the humanity, just sheer Shraddha that it may not be wrong. Keeping that Shraddha, you probe into that. As even you probe and grow in your knowledge. You understand by yourself, yes, what my mother told is right. What Einstein told is right. Similarly, the intelligent person has Shraddha, has the conviction that these people called rishis, these people called wise people can never tell lie, because they don't have any axe to grind. Therefore, Bhagavan Krishna says to Arjuna, Arjuna, tasma shastram pramanam te. For you, pramanam will be, source of knowledge will be shastram in conducting your life. The source of knowledge will not be your whims and fancies, will not be your convenience, will not be your desires, will not be your urges, but it will be shastram, whether it is proper or improper. Tasma shastram pramanam te pramanam shastram. Jnatva shastra vidhanoktam. After learning what it reveals, karma kartum iha arhasi. You can live your life with proper actions. Suppose, Arjuna, if you refuse to take my advice, suppose, what will be the loss for you? Yes, shastra vidhi mutsrujya vartate kamakarataha nasasiddhim avapnoti na sukham na parangatim. If a person doesn't make use of this shastric revelation as a source of knowledge for his life, then what happens? Na siddhim avapnoti. Say for example, Shastra says, Satyam vada dharmam chara. This person says, I will not bother about all those things. It is like a person, an young boy who was presented by his father a motorbike, 100cc, 200cc motorbike was present to a young boy. And first time he is sitting on the bike and drives the bike, and on roads so many boards are there. Go slow. Accident zone. Men are at work. Take diversion. This young boy says, I am a free citizen of India and the vehicle also is free. Petrol also is free. I am also free. So I will not obey any fellow. I will not take diversion. I will go direct. Where he will go direct? Where he will go? Either he will go to Shivaloka or he will go to ICU unit. Correct? Does anybody works to go to ICU unit? See, to come to Ramakrishna Ashrama, you plan. That Sunday there will be a class, 5:30 class, Satyameva Jayate. That Swami will be telling with lot of jokes, so I have to go. And even though mega serials are there and cinemas are there, all those are all not interesting. I will go to Ashrama. So you plan, you decide. You decide time when to start, you decide the means how to go, correct? And you desire to go. To reach Ramakrishna Ashrama, when you do all those things, now I ask, you go and ask a person who has already reached ICU unit, intensive care unit. Sir, how many days you desired, sir? How much money you spent, sir? How you reached, sir? By bus or car? And he will say, I never desired, I never worked, but I reached here. Krishna says, yes, Shastra Vidhi Mutsrujya Vartate Kamakarataha. After negating, after rejecting the advices given by the Shastra, one who leads his life according to his Kamakarataha, whims and fancies, what will be his life? Where it will end? It will end in intensive care unit or Dihar jail or Vellur jail, some jail. Correct? So, a person who travels should follow the traffic rules. And traffic rules are very clear. Big boards they have kept and it is very clear. Similarly, in our life, there is a travel and you have to encounter varieties of fellows in the traffic, and you can see how many type of people drive the car. Some are drunkards, some are mad fellows, some are with cell phone, some are absent-minded. What happens? When they are wrong, what is the result? You get accident. When somebody does a wrong thing, you get accident. Not only you should drive properly, carefully, you should protect yourself from the improper and careless drivers. Correct? So therefore, yet Shastra Vidhi Mutsrujya Vartate Kamakarataha Nasa Siddhim Avapnoti. He will not get even the worldly things. Na Sukham. Not peace of mind, na Parangatim. Neither spiritual benefit, nor emotional benefit, nor worldly benefit a person will get. So, it is intelligence, sheer intelligence to make use of one more instrument of knowledge. Correct? It's a sheer intelligence to make use of one more instrument of knowledge. How we can call it as instrument of knowledge? Because whatever it reveals is very unique. And it cannot be negated by the already existing instruments, and it is useful for me. Therefore, Veda is very unique instrument of knowledge. Bhagavan Rama, while discussing with Japali, he says, I am an intelligent person. Therefore, I make use of Veda as the pramanam for Satyatva. Because Japali told, Rama, you are telling Satya, Dharma and other thing, and by following that, you are telling that your father will be in heaven, your father will get benefit, and you also will get benefit like that. Who knows after death whether the person exists or not? All these are all bluffs, and all these rishis are bluffing the humanity like that. When Javali argued for that argument, Ramji says, being an intelligent person, I depend upon one more source of knowledge, namely Veda Pramana to guide my life. Vedic revelations are true as far as I am concerned. Suppose if you say, no, it is only mere belief. I already made you to understand that it is an understanding. Okay? Knowledge, it is knowledge. Making use of eyes is called knowledge, correct? Do you believe the eyes, or do you know that eyes are valid? Every one of us know that eyes are valid. It is not a belief. Similarly, a person who understands the Vedic Pramana will not have belief. He will be very much convinced that it is a valid source of knowledge. Even if somebody says, no, you are all belief, yours is belief. Then Ramji says, it is my privilege to believe. You conduct your life believing your 5 sense organs. Even though they are erring, even though all the sense organs are erring, you believe your sense organs. You conduct your life based on your sense organs. I have the privilege to conduct the life based on Veda Pramanam. You cannot say, I am wrong, but I can show you are wrong. How your eyes are erring, I can show to you that there is no blue sky at all. But your eyes can show to you that there is a blue sky. That there is no sunrise and sunset at all. But eyes can show you that there is a sunrise and sunset. So many things are, visual errors are there. In spite of erring instrument you are having, still you depend upon that erring instrument to conduct your life. In spite of erring mind you have, you conduct your life based on that erring mind. But I have the privilege to conduct my life based on Veda Pramanam. So you cannot say, I am wrong, but I can say, you may be wrong. Therefore, among the unnegatable and unique and useful revelations, Veda says a particular revelation. That's what Ramji quotes here. Satyameva Ishvaro loke satye dharmas sada shritaha satyamulani sarvani satyannasti param padam. All this 50 minutes introduction is for this one shloka. Here, Ramji says, Veda is Pramanam, and in that Veda, there is a revelation. What is that revelation? Loke Satye Dharmaha Sadashritaha. The Dharmaha means what? Proper actions are established in the value called Satyam. That is one revelation. Then second one is Sarvani Satyamulani. Everything that exists in this creation has Satyam as their root, as their substratum. Third one is Satyam eva Ishvaraha. Ishvaraha means what? Bhagavan or God or Lord, whatever it may be, that is nothing but Satyam. Satyan nasti param padam. Other than Satyam, there is nothing called higher. There is nothing higher in the creation other than the Satyam. This is not revealed by sense organs. This cannot be revealed by sense organs. All these are all revealed by Shastra. Therefore, unless a person convinced that Shastra is Pramanam, he will not take these ideas. Correct? So therefore, Ramji says, it is my privilege to conduct my life based on the revelations of the Shastra. You cannot say, I am wrong. What are all those revelations? Loke Satye Dharmaha Sadashritaha. All Punya Karmani, all proper actions are established in Satyam. In truthfulness alone, every moment of our life and every moment of our proper actions are established in truth alone. If you take a family person's, a married person's life, what he does while marrying, he says to his wife that I will be with you. If that is not Satyam, what will happen? He will marry another person. Correct? The very act of marriage is established where? In this statement that I will be with you, I will be your husband. If that statement is a lie, what happens? That person becomes untrustful person. He is not a trustworthy person. Therefore, there is no possibility of marriage life. Suppose a sannyasi takes a vow. Before taking vow, a sannyasi calls all the creatures, aquatic creatures, animals, pan kingdoms, devatas. All of them are called in that ritual, and keeping the Agni as Sakshi. Marriage also, Agni as Sakshi. Other than you, somebody is there as Sakshi. In some ceremonies, there are people as witness. In some ceremonies, there are certain things as witness. And in Indian society, Indian culture, there are Panchabhutas as witness and people as witness. Elders are as witness. Whether it is marriage vow or sannyasa vow. If marriage vow is not a vow, if it is not a truth, then marriage becomes hypocritic life. If sannyasa vow is not a vow, what is the vow given by a sannyasi? Abhayam dattam swaha. I give abhaya to all the creatures in the creation. That is ahimsa pradhana viratam, they call it. So once he says this, suppose if it is not a truth, what happens? His sannyasa life becomes hypocritic life, correct? So if satyam is not there, marriage life becomes hypocritic life, sannyasa life becomes hypocritic life. Again, brahmachari's life becomes, student's life becomes hypocritic life. So no life is possible. All proper things which humanity come across in its life are based on satyam. That's why Ramji says, Loke satye dharma sadashitaha. In this creation, in this life of human being, entire thing in the creation is established in satyam. And if that satyam is falsified, then every institution becomes futile. Marriage is an institution and sannyasa is an institution. That life with a particular institution, lifestyle becomes futile and it becomes hypocrite lifestyle. Therefore, satyam is very important from this aspect of the religious angle also. More details about it we will see in the next classes. Ramaya Ramachandraya Ramabhadraya Vedase Raghunathaya Nathaya Sitaya Pataye Namaha Satyavratam Satyaparam Trisatyam Satyasya Yonim Nihitancha Satye Satyasya Satyam Vritasatya Netram Satyatmakam Tvam Sharanam Prapannaha. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat. Shri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.